Hi, welcome. I am so excited to be here tonight here at Thrive Talks. My name is Galuska and I create poetry with paper. So we're going to dive right on in and we're going to look at my whole life in just one screen. So I was born in Zimbabwe. I had a baby sister. Then I moved to Australia. I fell in love. I finished my studies. I studied illustration and design. Then I worked as a graphic designer and decided, hey, why not move to Canada for love? And then, of course, because tonight we're talking about specifically about kind of Instagram and the role that has played in my art career, I'm going to put 2013 when I joined Instagram as a big highlight on that life timeline. Then in 2014, that's when I had the point that I was like, oh my gosh, paper art, that's for me. And then in around January of 2015, that's when I hit around 1,000 followers on Instagram. June 2015 is when I first opened my online store, and it wasn't too long after that that I started coming here to Thrive Mastermind, which is super cool. Then it was around, I've always been pretty focused on Instagram, but it was in 2015 in November that I hit 3,000 followers, which was a huge deal, but it was kind of just a taste of things to come, because in 2016 in February I had around 10,000 followers, then by July it was 20,000, and then here we are right here today, and a million other things in between, but that gives us a snapshot of my life. So this is me when I was little. That's me in my grandmother's backyard. I have no idea who that little boy is, but we're having a tea party. And when I was that age, I wanted to be either an artist or a unicorn. Yay! So both of those things, with the kind of family that I grew up with, are equally as unrealistic life goals. But hey, here I am. It's fine. So we're going to go back and have a little look at some older work of mine. So this is what I made when I was studying illustration and design back in Sydney, Australia. So we see a little bit of paper. I think we can see some hints of where I am now and where I was then. And then this was another project, so that's all paper as well. And then this kind of brings us up to a point where I was doing that work. It was good. It was interesting. My husband even said, hey, you should be doing that. But I was like, no. I need to get a real job. And then I spent a long time just experimenting with all sorts of different things. And I feel like this quote from Cheryl Strayed just sums up a lot of what my life was about and a lot of the things that I did, rather than diving into everything that I did that worked or didn't work. So the useless days will add up to something. The shitty waitressing jobs, the hours writing in your journal, the long meandering walks, the hours reading poetry and story collections and novels and dead people's diaries and wondering about sex and God and whether you should shave under your arms or not. These things are your becoming. So I did a bunch of becoming. I'm still doing it, but that kind of sums it up. So let's see what happened next. Ooh, so this was a piece that I did when I first moved here to Canada, and it's really beautiful. And so you'd think I'd be like, okay, it's 2011. Yes, I love paper art. I'm gonna go into it, but I didn't. I packed it all away and didn't pick it up again until 2014. When I really kind of dove into it and was being a lot more experimental and just feeling it. But it wasn't until I made this portrait, and that's a portrait of myself, that I was like, oh my gosh, it was my aha Oprah moment of this is it, this is the path that I need to take, and this is my thing. So it was basically amazing, but it it took a lot of work and time and energy to get here. Then we're going to see some of the work that you're probably more familiar. So I made these like 3D moths and wall hangings with swans, little tiny cute things. And then right now my focus is very much on houseplants, and not so much the lives of plants themselves, but the lives of people with plants. So that's what's happening. That's what I've got cooking right now. Okay. Ooh, what's this? This is Instagram. This is what we're all here to learn more about. So this is what my Instagram kind of currently looks like. I currently have 22.8 thousand followers, and this is kind of how my feed looks. So I think you get a pretty good idea of what I have going on. If someone was to stumble on this account, you'd kind of have an idea of whether this was for you or not. So this talk, you know, Jamie and I have shared that it's not really for beginner users of Instagram. It's not going to be like a how to like click here and see this. It's really about, you're going to think about how to use it strategically. So even if you are a beginner, it's still useful, but some of these things like hashtags and this section and that section on Instagram might be a little confusing, but hey, that's what Google's for. All of these things can be found. That's how I found them. But we're really going to think about how we can get the most out of Instagram. Okay, so that's where I'm at. It's taken me a bit of work to get here. And so the way I think about Instagram is that it's part of my job. I put in time so that I'm sure you can imagine looking at that feed that it takes time, it takes money. I do hire someone to take photos for me quite a bit. I do take some of my own, but the really, really good ones, they're not by me. And it takes effort. It is, however, it's worth it. So I think sometimes we hear about like, you know, oh, so-and-so's like got so many followers, but what does that mean? So for me, and the way I use Instagram, it means that about 95% of the money I make has come from Instagram. So this is most of the sales of my work, and other projects have come to me this way. So coming up, I'm going to share just a couple of examples of how that's worked for me, and I'm hoping that it gives you a little inspiration for like, hey, I could like do this and make this work for me. So even if we're on different paths, like I do quite a bit of commercial work, and I'm kind of talk about it in these examples, but you could easily, what I've done here for getting you know, a large client, you could do to get a cool gallery, I think, using Instagram. So okay, so let's see. So this first one, this was an illustration job I did for Urban Outfitters. So they hired me to illustrate some plants for like a plant care guide thing. And this one was they just found me on Instagram. I guess I was very searchable and findable with all my hashtags, and they were probably actively seeking out cool artists like me to work with. So it's just good to think about like who is using Instagram and why. Like it's a great resource for people to find you. I was also really proud of this project because they had hired me just to like do the illustrations, and then I said, oh, you know, I used to be really bad at looking after plants, but now I'm kind of good. Like if you wanted me to share anything about that, I could. So anyway, so then it turned into like a whole interview about me as well. So it's always nice when you can like kind of see how you can get even more out of an opportunity. And they were really fun to work with. They were great. Okay, so this next one is I worked on a Tide laundry commercial, and my paper engineering skills really got a workout. We made a tiny, I'm not going to be able to show you the video tonight, but you can find it online. And we made a tiny little like set model with like that car there. It's like the size of my thumb basically, and it moves. It's pulled on a string and travels through this like magical little world of a factory. There's a forklift in the background, all made out of like paper and other recycled materials. Anyway, it was a really cool project. I enjoyed it a lot. I enjoyed the people I worked with as well. And that one came about because of an artist friend I made on, you guessed it, Instagram. So sometimes it can feel a bit like, oh my gosh, why would I want to make friends with artists? Are they competition? I mean, I don't really think like that, but I think maybe some people do. But for me, it's just exciting to make friends. And when my friend was asked by an art director, oh, hey, do you know anyone who could do like a very specific type of model making with like paper and things? Can you think of anyone? She was like, oh yeah, I can, Galuska, you should like totally hire her. So it's just like, you never know, right? Like you're growing your network in all sorts of ways when you're sharing your work on Instagram and being sociable on there. Okay, so the next one, ooh, what is it? I can't exactly tell you the project. It's something I'm really excited about. It's a company I've really, really wanted to work on. They've been on my vision board this year, actually. And I heard the managing director of this company talking on a podcast. And she shared her personal Instagram handle. And so I was like, oh, okay, because the company that she works for has like hundreds of thousands of Instagram followers, right? So if I was to, you can get the attention of an account with hundreds of thousands of followers, but it's harder. And also the person who's going to be paying attention, who's going to notice you, is likely to be the social media person. It's not going to be the person who makes the decisions about who the artists they work with and hire for things. So being able to find her like direct personal Instagram and being a little like social with her, like I liked some pictures and left some comments, like not in a creepy way, just in a genuine way, like she had some cool photos. And then, you know, she checked me out and started following me as well. So the next step after that is not just being like, oh great, well someone follows me and then I'll just like wait around. Then I emailed and I sent a great email being like, hey, like I think you guys are great. This is what I do. I think we'd be a great fit working together. This is kind of what I could see happening, blah, blah, blah. Anyway, and then my email I got back from her was, hi Tara, yes, I'm a fan of your work. Let's figure it out. Let's work together. So, you know, it's just a great way to think about how to get noticed and by who. So if there's, say, a gallery, you can kind of, if you like look around, you can find out on posts like who's commenting or who they tag in photos. People often share photos of their teams or things like that, and you just notice and you say, oh hey, like so-and-so, they work for them, or oh well, they've done some work for them, like maybe I can see what's going on. So it's maybe a little bit a roundabout way of like getting people's attention, but honestly it's worked pretty well for me, so why not try it? Why not do a little sleuthing? Oh my goodness, oh what's that? You suck. Oh, well, that's just horrible. Okay, let's just skip past that one. Oh no! Oh dear. So we've got a whole screen of what I like to call meanie cats. When my sister was little, my little sister Christy, if you upset her, she would say, she'd scrunch up her hands, she'd look in your eyes, scrunch up her little face and say, meanie cat, sitting on a doormat, and it was like the ultimate insult. So with these guys, I kind of think of them as the meanie cats. So these are either the meanie cats, like people in my past who have been unkind to me, and they still, like their voices kind of just like rustle around in my head from time to time, telling me things like, oh, you can't draw, you can't do this, or, you know, whatever. Or the meanie cats that I've just internalized. Like, I think sometimes self-esteem can be a bit of a struggle, and just a lot of critical self-talk has been a problem. So that can be like a mini cats, or they're like mini cats that you were afraid that you might encounter. Like, what if I post this, or what if I try that and someone says, you suck, or don't even bother, or whatever these mini cats are saying. So it can kind of help to like think of them as mini cats and just be like, oh, they're just a mini cat. Like, this is, name what it is. And then remember you're a beautiful unicorn, and picture yourself with a protective rainbow bubble where just that like nonsense isn't going to impact you. It's just going to bounce off the bubble because you're like, nah, I'm cool. Okay, so we covered one thing that I struggle with, and something else that's been quite difficult and is a challenge is perfectionism. So I think Brené Brown has a great definition of perfectionism. So perfectionism is a self-destructive and addictive belief system that fuels this primary thought. If I look perfect, live perfectly, and do everything perfectly, I can avoid or minimize the painful feelings of shame, judgment, and blame. Oh boy. So you nailed it there, Brené. Oh no, so sad, Tara, right here. I'm actually not like super sad, even though I have had those challenges that I shared with you, and other challenges and difficulties within my life. We all have them, we all have to face them. And one of the things that I think has been the best for me was to seek help and support. So of course, Thrive is like a friendly, fun place for me to do that in my business and my art practice. But for things that are really challenging and difficult, like I visit a therapist when I need to, I seek out support groups. And those are the things that that really make it so that actually I'm not like that, I'm like this. Most of the time I'm feeling like a super cool unicorn, because I'm doing the stuff that I need to do to take care of myself. And I encourage you to do that too, because trying to do things on your own, it's just not really practical, and it's just really hard. So awesome, cool unicorns. Oh my goodness, this is Daisy. This is my first ever Instagram post, and that is Daisy Galuska the cat. She has a sister called Bijou, and they are the sweet little fluff balls in my life. So you can see, that's my first ever post. I don't know, it's kind of, Instagram and cats, they do go together, so maybe I was onto something. When I first started, I didn't have no one knew me, no one knew my work, because basically it didn't exist then. And also there was just maybe a couple of friends who were following me. So you can start from nothing and get somewhere. Okay, so this is the first few photos I posted, so we can kind of get an idea of what that looks like. So I mean, it's cute and nice pinks and cats and all of that, but I wouldn't really, from seeing that, I wouldn't know what this person does, and I certainly wouldn't know that I could buy art from them. I wouldn't know much about them at all. Would I be enticed to follow them? I mean, maybe not. I don't know. I'm not so inspired by it. I'm going to be honest to past Tara. Okay, so here we go. A bit further along, a few more months later, and there's a unicorn in there, so that's cool. I still don't 100% know what this person is about or what they're doing. I mean, I get a sense of their personality. Okay. Now this is further along. This is probably, well, I can tell you that is around the point that I made that portrait that made me kind of go, hey, paper art is for me. So that bottom left picture there is from that time. I mean, maybe I could tell this person was an artist. I don't know. I don't know, I wouldn't be like, hey, I'm so-and-so, so-and-so, I'm gonna like buy your work, I'm gonna hire you. It just doesn't, all it communicates clearly to me is like, maybe this is a fun, friendly person. It's not telling me too much more. Okay, and then we go further along and I'm seeing more art. Still definitely these cats, the cutest cats in the world. And then, ooh, okay, now here I think I'm really getting more of a picture. I'm really seeing, okay, this is an art account, and there's a specific style and look. I would be much more inclined to follow that because I would feel like there was a reason to. And then, ooh, okay, even better. So this was my feed in November of 2015, and you can see, if you look at that, and then think about that those first 9 pictures that I posted. Who would you follow? Who is telling you that they're an artist that you could say buy their work or have at least be inspired by or whatever, you know? There's a big difference between those accounts, even though it's like not that long an amount of time. But we can see on that bottom left picture there, that was a letter I sent to my 3,000th follower. I thought 3,000 followers was like insane, like so many people, and I just couldn't believe it. It was really exciting. At that point, I was even getting like 500 likes on a photo, and I was just like, oh my gosh, my hard work is really like starting to pay off. But then it was with the picture in the top left there that things really kind of went a little crazy. So you can see I got like 1,600 likes, 84 comments. It was like, I couldn't believe it. So quite a few different things kind of came together to make that happen. It's because I had worked so hard to make such a great account and make people excited and interested to follow me. But also it was a fact that I used those hashtags. You can see some of those hashtags up there. So some of those hashtags ended up getting me featured, which then once you're featured on an account that shares other people's work and say they have a lot of followers, guess what? That leads to followers for me as well, because they're like, hey, that's cool, I'm going to check it out, and then, oh wow, this is a beautiful account, I'm going to follow along, I'm going to learn more about this person. And also another thing that happened is I got into the top, most popular posts from the hashtags. So when you're looking at you search a hashtag, and then you see like the most recent, but above there's like the top kind of posts. Well, I got up into the top posts, and maybe I even got into a few people's explore pages. Okay, so next we've got, this is kind of what a post these days I can reach. So like 4,000 likes, bunch of comments, and it's all fun and exciting. So we're going to look a little bit at this post again later, because we're gonna take it apart and look at it and come up with some strategies on how to make better posts. Okay, so just a reminder, that's where my Instagram's at now. Think about where it came from, think about where it is now. I think it kind of makes sense as to how I have over 20,000 followers. So when I was deciding, okay, I'm gonna like make Instagram a thing, I'm going to make it work for me and my business, I looked to accounts that I really loved, and this is one of them. This is one of my very favorites, Chili Philly. So it's kind of obvious what he does, crocheted hats, artworks, wearable art, and just like the best poses ever. So I think it's really important for people to understand as soon as they click on your account what you're about and like what they can expect. I think if it's not clear, they're less inclined to follow. Like, why would I start following an account with cats and then suddenly they start posting like dish towels or like their dirty feet? I don't know, like, you know what I mean? Like, you want to kind of know what you're going to get. I obviously know what I'm going to get, and it's going to be the best thing ever when I follow this account. So, you know, just great photos, very nice curation, and then we can learn a little bit about him. So, okay, so he's in Melbourne, he's a Satellite Foundation ambassador, he lives his crochet fantasy, we know how to contact him, and his website, and also some fun emojis letting us know, well, he's eggplants. Eggplants is not what you maybe think it means. It means something else. I learned that recently. Okay, so he's awesome. Then we got someone else that I love following. So Sarah K. Benning, and she has like 300,000 followers. And so again, we see very clearly what she does. This is kind of like a very curated look. It's almost like looking at a portfolio with works in progress and that kind of thing. It's not a ton of other life kind of photos, lifestyle stuff. And again, she's making the best use of her bio, contemporary embroidery, sarahkbenning.com is her website. So then we also see a hashtag, interest information about patterns. So I kind of get an idea, okay, so she sells patterns as well as artworks, and then where you can purchase them. So another beautiful account that people can't resist following. So this one, so we've got Stella, and she paints beautiful planets and moons as well as some other things. But this one I think is also, it's a great example of, well actually it's the only example I'm sharing here of someone who's really mixing up lifestyle type photos and not just purely work. And I think it's really put together just so beautifully. So that's another option for how you want to share your work and share your artist brand. So what could we tell from those 3 examples, and what did I learn from looking at these kinds of things? It's all about curation. So I think we've all heard that a lot when it comes to Instagram, and that is what that means. That's what it looks like to me. And then so it's something I really focus on a lot in my account, and I take a quality over quantity approach. So I would rather not post something than post a bunch of average things. Like, I try and post the best that I can. Obviously, as I've gone along, the best of what I can post has improved over time, and so you guys, you know, can, you know, don't have to like immediately have the standard of those accounts that I just showed you, but that's really what you want to aim for and like gradually build to. So the way to do it from now is think about each image that you post. So just think, is this a good post? Does it look good? Is it interesting? Does it, like, what does it do for me? What does it do for my followers? Like, how am I giving them value? And also think about how it fits with your feed. So if it's gonna look like a really like glaring, like, what the heck is that? Don't post it. Also go and delete a few like posts if they really don't look good. It's fine. I know it might feel weird at first, but I do it all the time and it's great. Oh my gosh, you suck. What the heck is this? Why is there a mini cat back? Okay, it's back because I know for me and for a lot of other artists, so maybe you got the curation thing, you're like, okay, I get it, but you still have some hesitation and fear about posting. You're not alone, it's totally normal, but you don't want to let fear of criticism and rejection hold you back. So you are the boss of your Instagram account. You can block people, you can delete their posts, you can report them, and if you're finding, because unfortunately there are some really nasty people who behave really badly online. If you're having trouble with it, I think you need to look out and reach out for support. but I mean, hopefully nothing will come to that, but sometimes it can. But when you remember that you're the boss and other people don't like run you, you run your account, it really helps. And you just got to remember you're a cool unicorn. That's how we kind of stop fear of criticism and rejection hold us back. So I saw this a little while ago. 1 million likes will never be enough if you don't like yourself. So maybe if you thought, oh wow, like Tara has a bunch of followers, she must be like so happy and her life must be really awesome. I guess I am kind of happy and my life is pretty awesome, but I don't feel differently about it because of how many followers and likes I get. I feel that way because of you know, like the spiritual and emotional work that I do. Followers are nice, but it doesn't make me feel good about myself. So those kind of things, they don't totally go together. It's like waiting to be happy. It's not going to happen. You got to kind of make it happen for yourself. So this little swan, social media is not real life. This is true. It is not real life. People curate it. My real life does not look like my Instagram feed. It looks like sweatpants most of the time. Okay, don't use it to torture yourself. Don't use it to torture yourself, especially with the, I mean, we can't pretend that the online landscape isn't quite stressful right now. It's probably not going to get a lot easier anytime soon. So you can't use it to torture yourself. Don't let it control you. But how? How, says this snail? Like, okay, that is a great question. Okay, you got to step away from the device. Don't need to be constantly in your phone. You don't need to constantly be in your Instagram to be successful. You need to just use it as needed for work, right? So like, why have 1 million notifications going off on your phone? I turn off my notifications. The only notifications I get are from my phone calls and text messages. I don't get email. I don't get that stuff. Like, it just doesn't need to control. It doesn't need to control me. It doesn't need to control you. I go in. I've never missed anything, but I go in when I need to do my work. So I go in daily, right? When I post and then check in once or twice, and that's enough. And then self-care. So sometimes I think people can see other people's lives and feel bad about their lives. If that's kind of something that's really coming up for you because of Instagram or social media, that's okay. I think it's pretty common and certainly not like it's a normal thing. But I think it's a good sign that maybe it's time to seek out some good support so that you can just, you know, enjoy and use social media, but not have it as a way to torture yourself or cause you grief. Okay, so this is one of my biggest keys of things that I really want artists to take away from this talk, and that is that you need to put the social into social media. It's called social media, right? So you want to go in and like and comment on your followers' posts. Actually, let's take it back a little step here. So when I say like social media is like socializing in real life. So for example, if I was to say to you, oh hey, how do you like my shirt? And then you said, oh my gosh, Tara, like it looks really great. And then I said nothing at all, like I just completely ignored you, how would that feel? Like, that's not right. Oh, now you're all thinking, oh my goodness, like, yes, I've totally done that to people, and it's like online, and it's just kind of as unpleasant as it is in real life. So, you know, it's kind of like how you behave well socially in real life, behave like that online. We can't like maybe catch every comment, but you can get most of them, and you can be a pleasant, lovely, social butterfly, all from your couch. So that's what that means. So part of doing that is liking, commenting on your followers' posts, making them feel special and like connecting with them. And then you want to reach out and find new people, because just waiting around for people to find you, we all know how that goes, whether it's online or anywhere else. So you're going to hang out where they hang out. So you want to look at hashtags. So hashtags maybe that you find interesting, or that you notice people kind of in the artist community using, or maybe press that you like, or curators or galleries, or cool art events that are going on, or maybe if people who are into your work are into like sci-fi, why not go check out sci-fi stuff? Then there is the explore section on your phone. Like, check it out. It's kind of Instagram suggesting that you might like some of these images and the accounts that post them. So like, why not spend some time like saying hey there, and then look at related accounts. So on your phone, when you look at someone's account, you can press that little arrow down, and then it'll show you like related accounts, so similar accounts to the ones that you're looking at. And maybe you could like do a little liking and commenting over there. I kind of do about 15 minutes of this a day, so 1-5. If you did a bit more, it's probably even better. But I really think it's made a huge difference for me, because basically you're making friends and having fun, and awesome things happen when you do that. Okay, so the next thing that I'd really like to see more artists paying attention to is captions. Because it's one thing, it's great to have a good image, that's probably the most important thing on Instagram, but your captions are there to provide context, add personality, and inspire action. If they're doing those things, then you've got a post that's actually going to do work for you. Like, it's worth it to make sure it does those things. Okay, so we're going to look back at that picture, and we're going to do some examples of captions that I have seen artists use, and also that I've done myself. So you don't need to feel bad if you've done any of these. I've done it too, and it's fine, but we're all about, like, the whole point of tonight is we're going to think of how to do better and be more strategic. So we've got, which is all emojis. I see that and I just think, meh, like that doesn't tell me anything. That's just nothing. Okay, and then I #love #plants. That's why I made this #plant, #wall hanging, #artwork. Do you like #plants of Instagram too? #blessed. And I just see that and I just can't even read it, and I think, oh my gosh, it is a robot who has an Instagram account. That is not building any kind of connection. Okay, and then, oh my goodness, you see a lot of this, right? Think of all the beautiful artist accounts that you follow where it's just the name, the title of the work, the size, it's oil on canvas, and it's available. Boring. That is so boring. It's information that, sure, maybe I need to know, but like, good grief. Give me a break. Okay, so here we have a caption that I've done. Okay, so I still got to use my emojis because I love them. I start with like a little fun question because I'm like into plants and I want to get to know my followers. And then at the end, I make sure to say, hey, like, just so you know, like, this is available to buy, right? And I credit my lovely photographer, Nicole. And then we say, hey, like, I feel like that caption hit those 3 points, right? So it's just think about it and use some sort of a personality. So we don't have to be the robot hashtag guy. Okay. So how do I craft my captions? So I think one of the easiest things and one of the most likely ways to get engagement is to start with a question, and you'll try it and see. I think you'll notice there's a big difference. So your most interesting and important information goes first, because as we know, the captions do get shortened and people have to click to read more. So try and get it punchy up front. Emojis, I love them. They're fun. They add personality. And then when you're writing your captions and you're kind of trying to make them better and add more of you and your personality in, I want you to like let your freak flag fly. If you feel a little bit vulnerable, just a little bit, it could be a good sign. So, okay, we're going to do all of these things, and then the next thing that you have to remember, you guys, is you have to include a call to action and information. So people need to know all of the information that someone needs to know. You need to share it with them. So if you're sharing an exhibition and you don't say where the opening is, the hours, or like anything, if you're just like, my exhibition opens tomorrow, it's just like, that's a waste of a post. Then what I'm supposed to, like, as a viewer of this image, I'm supposed to go and like search who knows where to find out that information, give it to me there, and maybe I'll show up. Hey, that'd be great. Okay, we're going to talk about hashtags, using those hashtags. So posts with at least one hashtag average to 12.6% more engagement than those without any. Hey, if you can get all that just from one hashtag, you're allowed to use 30 hashtags on Instagram. So I like to think of them as like 30 shooting stars. Maybe some people think it looks a little attention-seeking-ish to use a bunch of hashtags, but I don't care, because obviously that's the reason I'm on Instagram and you're on Instagram, is because we want attention. If I didn't want attention for my work, I wouldn't be on Instagram. So, so use them. You don't have to use them up the front. You can just tuck them in at the back and have them do the work. So how do I find hashtags? I do a ton of research. And I keep like a document with all the different kind of hashtags that I can use. And so there's an app called Tagomatic. It's okay. I don't like totally love it, but why not just try it out? You can put in like an option, and then it gives you other hashtags that are kind of related that could be good. I also like within Instagram, in the search tags section, you can see up the top, once you've typed a hashtag in, they share related tags, and basically you can like find a bazillion tags, great tags that way. And also it can be a good way to find people to be social with. And then I like snoop around and I look at to see what other people are using. So other artists, press, galleries, things like that. So I like to make sure I mix it up. I use a variety of really big hashtags and then smaller niche hashtags, and hashtags that are used specifically to feature artists and people like me. So I just suggest you play around and see. Do a little experimenting, some research, and see what happens when you use those hashtags. Oh my goodness. So here we are at the end. We're all beautiful unicorns, and I just so appreciate your time for coming out, and I hope that I've been able to plant some seeds on like ways that you can get your Instagram to work a little bit better for you. So again, thanks so much. Thanks so much to Jamie for having me here. I love Thrive, and it's just a really beautiful community. So let's all have a great night and enjoy our Instagram.